right. Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody that's tuning in is doing great today. We are excited to be back with another episode of Reunion Station. Of course, you got myself here, Chad Graves. You got Dave Spannhake. And today we are joined by one of our long-term partners and honestly one of the best dudes I know in the industry. Not only is he a wizard at OTT and all things media, as the SVP and managing partner of Silverback Advertising, but he's also an immense athlete and world traveler. I just learned he got back from Hawaii last night. So, man, he's running on coffee this morning, yet still going to deliver some pretty awesome stuff. Shane, it's been obviously great to work with you all these years, and we share a lot of great friends and clients in common. But, man, we're excited to have you on here so you can talk a little bit about what you guys do and all the cool stuff over at Silverback.
Yeah, no, very excited to be here, man. I don't know how to top that intro there. That's pretty good. And yeah, definitely running on jet fumes this morning, so this will be fun. But really excited to be here and talk about OTT and some other things with you guys. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're excited about you being on. Again, just as a reminder to everyone watching, the purpose behind this video series we have is to highlight some of the best companies in the space. Chad and I are fortunate that we get to really talk to just about everybody. And if you see us at any conventions or shows, you'll see us talking to just about everybody. And we love talking to Silverback. They do a tremendous job with OTT. And a lot of people ask, well, what does Silverback do? What does Silverback do? And so, this video is about that. So Shane, about 2 minutes or so, elevator pitch. I mean, we're getting it out to the people. What does Silverback do? And talk through some of the differentiators, some of the ROI, the benefits. I mean, why Silverback is so good.
Yeah, appreciate it. Well, one of the things that Silverback does is partner with great companies and great technology companies and other folks, in our space and out of our space, and hence that's our relationship, first and foremost with you guys, for more than the past 3 years, partnering with you guys on various opportunities, with SEO and some of the things that you do really great at, and with us, on the OTT and CTV side of things. So Silverback, first and foremost, we're a lot of things. We're a full service advertising agency. So everything from all different types of media buying to creative and production to strategy and account management. We really consider ourselves a boutique agency because we mold ourselves to really fit with the organizations that we're working with. So maybe that's, they have a marketing director and to drive strategy, and they need someone with the systems and the technology to really execute things. And that's where we come in. To the other end of the spectrum where, we are the marketing, kind of department for many of the organizations, that we work with. But the world of programmatic media and CTV can be pretty overwhelming for a lot of small businesses and businesses in the automotive space, because it's extremely complex. It needs a lot of technology partners to really make it work, and needs a lot of hands on keyboards to do the actual programmatic media trading. And that's where Silverback comes in this world of programmatic, CTV media buying, with relationships and with our use of multiple trading platforms. We've developed over 150 different integrations. And those integrations are things like attribution providers, many of whom, we all know and love in the automotive space, like Clarivoy, for example.
Okay.
There's many DSPs that we're integrated with, like our friends at Orbi or Telium and so on and so forth, audience solutions, etc. So what we can do with this network of trade desks and integrations is really build CTV campaigns that increase, the upper funnel activity, so that the lower funnel activity, that great SEO stuff that you guys are working on, really is even more impactful, right? So as we use CTV to increase that upper funnel and expand, a dealer's awareness, then it gives the opportunity for those lower funnel mediums to be a lot more effective. And that's where we come in and do our thing.
Man, that's awesome. I tell you, for me, OTT is such it's still relatively new. If you think about, I guess as far as it being just commonly accepted in a dealer's budget. And so, it's so great for me to be able to learn about it and hear it from you, because I think I learn something every time I hear you talk about it. When you're talking with your dealers or prospective dealers, what do you still see as the biggest opportunity for them across OTT specifically? Like you mentioned attribution, you mentioned the different data integration. What is it that you still see as like, man, this is where people are still maybe missing the boat or where they have the opportunity to grow?
Yeah, I think you said it, in the beginning there. There's a couple of things, but the first point, that I'll make is that it's growing, and it has been for years. But in the automotive space, especially with, car dealers and individual points to small groups, it's still something that a lot of individuals are trying to find a place for in their marketing budget, right? There's a lot of, we know this is important, we know we need to be here, but how do we budget for it? What do we budget for it? We know we need it, but we need to get on it. So we estimate that still there's about 10% to 15% of dealers that actually have it as a core part of their budget. And when I say core, I'm meaning like always on strategy. You're always on with your SEO strategy. You're always on with your paid search strategy. And CTV is one of those things. In 2023, we saw connected TV and streaming actually surpass cable and broadband, right? So it is the largest format for video audiences out there, right? And it is not a place that dealers want to miss out on, in their planning, but it is a place where a lot need to get their foot in the door and get started. And a great place to get started, or a great reason to get started with it, is because you can have such a great audience first approach to it, right? Unlike, traditional broadband or cable, and a lot of dealers are familiar with, what goes into planning and buying those. On the connected TV side, we can really incorporate a lot of tools around measurement, around attribution, but most importantly, we can be very audience driven, using first party audiences specifically, which is very important, as 50% of everything out there is now cookieless, right? And the other 50% will go away someday. Yeah.
That's the at least.
Right. So they can move beyond, just looking at inventory and looking at schedules, and really be audience first, and really segment a lot of campaigns to target precise audiences. So the capabilities have just moved way beyond, publishers and inventory. And then you can apply measurement, to that as well. And you really start to see the impact of what you're delivering beyond just, impressions.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening here, and I mean, just like what we're seeing with Google and all the changes on the SEO side, the SEM side. I mean, it's the shifts in advertising have been tremendous. These past 3 or 4 years, more than ever before. What are you seeing as some of those the primary shifts, most important shifts as it relates to OTT and all things Silverback is up to?
Yeah, like you said, there's always a lot of shifts going on, and that's one of the fun and crazy things about marketing and advertising, right? Is it's never standing still. Audience first is a big, shift where I think where advertisers are starting to understand the impact of leading with audience as opposed to leading with tactic, and that's driving a lot more omni-channel campaigns that are led by connected TV, but then maybe finished with other types of advertising like display or streaming, where those things, or streaming audio, where those things are all connected, right? But that idea of being audience first is one that has started to catch on the last couple of years, and it's a trend that I think will just continue, especially as first party data and the activation of first party data continues to grow. We hear a lot talk about it. But I think as an industry in automotive, there's still a lot of dealers just getting off the ground, and how do I actually activate on my first party data? And that's a place where programmatic and CTV and everything else that Silverback does can really come in and help. 2 other places, the focus on identity resolution or ID resolution is a really big deal. As cookies go away, the entire industry, from your biggest world, advertising agencies out there to your smallest, businesses out there, are trying to solve for what will be the next, form of identity resolution that allows us to continue to grow all the attribution and the measurement, that has come over the last 10 or 15 years that advertisers love. And, the real answer is probably not going to be a single solution, especially if last week I was at a DigiDay conference where myself and other suppliers spoke about this for 3 days. It's probably not going to be a single identity resolution like the cookie has been.
Right.
It's going to be a multitude of resolutions that end up being the solution, going forward. And then the comeback of contextual advertising. I really see this as, a comeback. Contextual advertising has been around, but with the changes in identity resolution and specifically with the changes in privacy and everything we're going to experience in privacy legislation over the next couple of years, which, is kind of a mess right now with states doing their own things and federal government not quite weighing in. So we've got a lot going on in that space that's going to affect measurement and what we can do with data and how these identity resolutions impact things. And so I think that's going to bring back a little more of the contextual formats as we go forward here.
Man, that was awesome. Again, like, I feel like there's just so much to continue to be uncovered. You guys have to not only, Dave was talking about how we deal a lot with the changes on Google. You guys are dealing with changes across like every platform known to man, which is obviously probably keeps you a little bit busy, I would assume. But man, that's a lot of different platforms and a lot of different change, quite frankly, right? When you start looking at just how these different regulations, even state by state, are going to play a role in inevitably how we all measure this stuff, right? And I think what's what a dealer in, let's call it, California may be able to do or get is maybe very different than somebody over here in North Carolina, right? It's and that is a whole different beast to really tackle. And so if you're a dealer, no matter where you are, maybe I've got stores across multiple state lines, what should I be judging the success of my OTT campaign off of? If some of these things are all different, what are those metrics that you're like, hey, if you're going to judge us, look at these, right? What is that for you guys and in the OTT connected TV world today?
Well, the fun thing about that and the challenging piece of it is it really changes based on the individual advertiser because of everything that you can do with an audience first approach, or you can be, inventory specific and you just have so many options in how you want to run and execute a campaign. So it really starts with that initial conversation of what are your goals, with this campaign? Are you running this campaign for branding? Okay, then the measurement of that is going to look different, than if you're running a cost per action campaign and you're trying to, drive lower funnel actions. Right. And so the fun part of that is on our side, we can set up different measurement tools to measure each of those types of campaigns differently and be customizable to each individual advertiser. Right. So if I'm running a brand campaign, then it might be more about, the reach that I'm getting in the marketplace.
Makes sense.
And it's going to be maybe they'll invest in a brand lift survey, or a brand lift study, that can be done to correlate, real ROI, beyond just reach and things like that. But if we're running a cost per action campaign where an advertiser says, hey, I want to target my first party data and I'm looking for engagement, then that's a different setup where we're going to actually target cost per action goals. And we're going to set up those goals at the beginning of the campaign. And then that is a measurable that we're kind of tracking towards over the course of the campaign. So beyond things like the reach and the impressions and what publishers we ran on, are we achieving this cost per action goal? What are those actions that we're getting, within the website? Are they lead forms? Are they VDP views? Are they just people, looking at SRPs or the homepage? All of that information, can go into the measurement and the outcomes and to see the success, of the campaign. So, and I think the other piece is transparency. Transparency on the inventory. Everybody wants to see and understand, where did my ads run? When did they run? And what is the audience, that saw them? And so good measurement of an OTT or CTV campaign should definitely, include those pieces at a minimum.
Yeah, great stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, guys, I mean, we do like to keep these videos short, digestible, easy to watch. But Shane, you said a whole lot of really valuable things, a lot of great insights. So, I mean, I'd suggest anyone who didn't know what he was talking about to reach out to him, because, I mean, obviously he knows what he's talking about. And then anyone who does know what they're talking about, even more reason to reach out to him, right? So you guys can riff and talk about these things. They're doing a tremendous job. Shane, if somebody does want to reach out to you, how do they get a hold of you?
They can get a hold of me on LinkedIn with Shane Stender or at silverbackadvertising.com. Or they can, drop me an email at my email address, and shane.stender@silverbackadvertising.com. And as you said, yeah, feel free to reach out. We love chatting. We love educating as well. So if you're somebody who's new to this space and just wants to understand what options you have out there, love to just share what's going on and what options you have out there, so that you know what you're looking for and what questions to ask when you're talking to folks.
Very awesome. Well, Shane, I mean, we love what you guys do. I mean, appreciate the heck out of you. And I mean, a very smart company, great company, one that we endorse over at Reunion. So reach out to those guys, say hello. Shane, thanks so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom.
Yeah.
As you do every conversation. So
yeah, thanks very much for having me, Dave and Chad. Appreciate it very much.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
see you guys soon.
Take care. And thanks everybody for watching.
Yeah.
See ya.